Retaliatory cycle. The retaliatory cycle is a kind of wanting to hit back or a kind of revenge when we find ourselves in a conflict situation. It's good to understand what the retaliatory cycle is in order to understand what mediation is all about, because the retaliatory cycle is the beginning of a conflict or what causes a conflict, and we can find ourselves in that cycle several times and somehow never getting to the bottom of things and resolving what we may be going through, whatever problem it is that we have that is causing that interpersonal conflict. And remember, in this channel, I've explained in another video what a conflict is. It's a condition between people who are interdependent in whatever kind of relationship, and where one or both are angry, they find fault with each other, and they look for ways to protect themselves, as it were, so that they can deal with the situation. So what is this retaliatory cycle? That kind of or revenge or hitting back so that we can kind of survive, in this conflict situation. It usually starts with a trigger. The trigger can be whatever it is, something somebody has said, something somebody has done that makes us feel or perceive a threat to our interest. We're feeling threatened. It's something in our thoughts. We feel something, there's a threat, because of what somebody has done to us or said to us. That is the first step, in our mind. And then like almost instinctively, it provokes an emotion. It can be an emotion, for example, of anger or fear. So it's affecting our feelings, to protect ourselves, and so that we can find how to react or to move, from this threat. And that instinctively leads to the other step, which is acting out. And then in the acting out, it can be in two ways, either through what we call power play or walk away. Or in other words, we also use, the other words that we use are fight or flight. We decide whether we are going to run away from the situation or fight it out. Other words that we can also use is either use coercion, for example, by threatening the other person, or having some hostile gestures or whatever, or the opposite, which is withdrawing or distancing ourselves. For example, giving the other person some silent treatment or not returning messages, just basically avoiding the other person. But we talk about acting out because it is like we consciously choose those actions, the fight or flight, so that we can protect ourselves. But then we realize that whether we fight or take flight, it is a temporary measure. It hasn't resolved the problem. And then what happens is that once we act out, if we choose to fight or flight, the other person also now perceives a threat, and the cycle continues again. Of course, imagine if somebody shouts at you, or if somebody just gets cold towards you or withdraws, breaks communication completely, it provokes a reaction in the other person's thought, because then they perceive also now that their interests have been threatened, and then the cycle continues. And that's why we say that mediation comes to break that cycle. It's not a comfortable thing to do, to engage in a dialogue, which is what mediation is, but we have to make like a conscious effort to break that cycle, so that we say the best way to resolve the problem, this situation, is to talk. Obviously, we would have to learn how to hold that dialogue properly so that it can be effective, but it definitely breaks the cycle